The Hatman is a shadow with a hat that people see in nightmares or sleep paralysis. People have been seeing him since before records started. My experience was different. I live with 3 friends in a flat in South London. My parents and 13-year-old brother live in a farmhouse in the southwest countryside. I moved to London for a job opportunity, but as it's far away from my parents, I visit as often as I can. Because I live in London, I don't drive my car very much at all. I normally drive to my parents', but there was so much traffic I decided to take the train. It was surprisingly quicker than driving without traffic, which I didn't expect. I arrived at the train station, and my dad picked me up. We got home, and because there was a whole lot of running in between trains, I was starving, so we ate early at around 6 p.m. After that, we did games, watched some TV together and caught up. At about 10:30, my brother went to bed, and I wasn't far behind. I fell asleep at around 11:30. Less than an hour later, I woke up sweating and screaming. My door suddenly opened and I expected to see my parents coming to see what was going on. There was no one outside. That was when I realized I couldn't move. Suddenly, against the darkness of the house, I saw an even darker figure with a hat. My breathing got harder and harder. The figure walked towards the bed and stood at the foot of it. I couldn't see any eyes, but I somehow knew we were making eye contact. That's when it disappeared. The rest of the visit was normal. When it came to the time to leave, my dad drove me to the train station and we arrived dead on 10 a.m. My train was at 10:10. I went over to the ticket machine but the screen wasn't on. I pushed a few buttons but nothing happened. I brushed it off and went to sit on the platform and wait. It was 10:15 and nothing had come. I looked at the live timetable on the platform and that was dead too. I waited till 11:30 before deciding enough was enough. I should have seen 12 trains in total in that time. 6 going my way, 6 going the other. 3 of the trains going my way should have been going to where I needed to go, the other 3 for somewhere else. I got my dad to pick me up and take me back to the house, and I'd try again tomorrow. I spent most of the early afternoon in my old room where I had had the sleep paralysis. I was quite bored as my parents had gone to work and my brother to school. I had told my boss I was stuck where I was. I looked at the farm out the window and saw something that made my skin crawl. The man with the hat standing in the middle of the field. This time, I could see white circles in its head. I assumed they were eyes. It quickly disappeared when I looked at it. I was in a state of shock for half an hour. I eventually got up the courage to do some research on my phone. I found a story from a therapist who had a patient who was seeing this same man in her sleep. Then one day, she claimed to see him across the street in the middle of the day. She told her therapist this and the therapist told her it was a side effect to the drug she had been prescribed. She never saw the patient again and neither did anybody else. I'd found a few other stories of sleep paralysis and recurring nightmares with this man. But the story of the patient who saw him in the day shook me to the core. Was I next? I persuaded my dad to drive me 40 minutes to the station I had to make a change at to get to London. I lied and told him I had a big work thing that could lead to a bonus of £5,000 plus. He drove me and I managed to get a train back to London. The next day I contacted them asking if everyone was all right, because I was afraid the thing with the hat maybe went for them. They said everything was fine, which was a relief. I never saw the thing with the hat again. However, since my visit, I've been seeing other strange things in my flat. People running towards me in the corner of my eyes, but they disappear when I turn to look at them. I've had 8 sleep paralysis episodes. My life has become a living hell. I feel like the so-called Hatman summoned all these things to me and they won't leave.